Awesome. So we don't have a lot of time, and it was fantastic that Trygve and Larry went on before me, because frankly, you really want to define how you want to do business. Top 5. You're doing all this work to gather all this leads, all of the expense, exposure, time. Time is very valuable. How do you manage this? How do you secure these leads? How do you secure further customer relationships? What do you got to do with that? A lot of times this is where, when I come in and one of my consultants come in and talk to a business, this is where we develop, we discover potential challenges or weaknesses in the current business environment. And these are the top 5 things that we've come across a lot. So like, first, data integrity. Is it complete? Are the records complete? How many of you, well, let's roll back. I want to take a poll of the group. How many of you, or what do you use to stay on top of your clients right now? Or your prospects that come in? I'm going to throw out, anybody use Outlook? Okay. Anybody use Excel? Anybody use Post-it notes? Don't laugh. I've seen a frame around a monitor littered with Post-it notes, and they would move them physically from one point to the other on their monitor because that's their process. Nobody else could read it, and nobody would understand what the client would need when they called in, because you had to go run and look at the monitor, because you had to find the Post-it note. I'm serious. I started with that. What are you using right now? Throw out some for me, just so I understand. Pardon?
Pipe drive.
Okay. Anybody else?
Salesforce.
Okay.
Zoho.
All right, good. My question was Zoho. Did you do a lot of your own customization? Okay, just curious, because that's been a big platform that I've been getting more into. What about you?
We use Zoho, and we did a lot of customization.
I know, yeah.
Constant tweaking.
Yeah. It is a great platform because it is so powerful, so flexible, but you also have to understand what it is that you really want it to do. Yeah, you can do anything you want, but you have to know what you want to do. So it's a little more of a challenge in that environment. So getting back to the data integrity, what I mean by this is, how many times have you answered your phone, you're looking at an email, something else is going on, you're kind of half listening to the customer, and you're opening up a record because you got to track because they called in. And so I think it's my hair. I apologize. Did you ever get to the point where you're looking at your data, you look at the contact records and realize that you have a first name, you didn't catch the last name, you have a phone number, but you're not sure if it's their main number or a mobile number, and you've got an email address, but it's like a gmail.com address, not the business. Have you ever looked at one of these entries and go, why did they call me? I mean, do you know what you're supposed to do next with that record? Or what is your next step to follow up to gain the business? Or heaven forbid it's a customer and the information is not complete. How do you know what's next? You got to think about what's next. So when I look at data integrity, that piece, there's 2 words in my mind, is follow up. Follow up, follow up, follow up. Get the record complete. Figure out your next step. Always be scheduling that next touch point. Who in this room knows how many times you have to connect or touch a potential client or prospect? How many times?
100%.
100 times, yeah. Well, on some levels. No, seriously. It's roughly 11 to 13 times. Now that doesn't mean 11 to 13 phone calls. It doesn't mean 11 to 13 emails. It doesn't mean 11 to 13 direct mail pieces. It means 11 to 13 times. So if you start thinking about your time and doing time management, you'll be much more open to the idea of having social media help you, or email marketing help you, or direct mail help you, because you might only have in your business process that in your sales process you would say, you'd call the person back, fill out the complete record, then you would make sure to send an email as a welcome on board. As far as if they're going to become a customer, you might want to send a direct mail piece for a new offering or something that's in the process of them in their project. You might send an email for an update that they have to, approve or accept something within the project structure, something like that. Data availability. Okay, I've heard Salesforce and I've heard Zoho, but how many of you have defined or designed your environment on how you do business, your availability of data. Meaning, do you have a CRM or an option that syncs with your phone so that you would see your calendar items that you have to follow up with customers from a system into your phone, whether it be web or a client-based environment? How many of you are following up like that or being on top of it? How many of you have reminders to follow up versus it's helping you stay on top of things versus you having to remember to open up an Excel spreadsheet to see dates posted that you missed because you should have called somebody a week ago, but you've been busy and you forgot to open that Excel spreadsheet. It helps when you have those automated reminders fluent throughout in your environment. Data tracking. We're going to have a little fun experiment a little bit later, and I'll leave it for that right now. Data categorization. You got to figure out what type of person is this. Is this a vendor, someone that's going to be a referral source? Is this a client? Is it a prospect? Is it a past customer? Is it a high maintenance, low profit customer? Is it a low maintenance, high profit customer? We all want that last one. But you know what I mean? Those people that will call and want your time or service with lots of questions, but they don't really want to put the money on the table for you, but they want to see if you can really deliver or figure out how to help them. And then use the data to inform and educate. Again, that goes back to the marketing, and we're going to have to segment or build on how you're going to use your database. So you've done all this marketing. I love this picture because we all want to get there. Of course we do. But do we? Because my question is, can you scale? Let's say you all of a sudden have a fantastic marketing campaign using social media, email marketing, direct mail, and all of a sudden you got people just pounding down your door. Now, you've worked and put all this energy out there. You better have a good internal process, business process of when a call comes in, it must be entered in this system, this email goes out, or I have to set up a meeting within 24 hours so that I follow up with this person who's asked for that information. And I won't steal somebody else's thunder in the room here, but if you don't understand how you do business, you can't stay in business. You have to understand your processes. And that's the same thing when I design, or one of my teammates designs, a contact management system. We also look into a lot of integration. We like to see single point of entry. So if someone sends you an email, we want to capture that email into a CRM system, and it might just capture first name, last name in the email, but now you got a record started. You didn't have to type it, so that when you call them, you're already like halfway there. You get their phone number, or when you send them an email and then they respond back, then you make sure to also capture the phone number, also the address. Again, you're starting to track and add this information in. Yeah?
How does it take the information from several data sources into one consolidated record? Because it could be first name, last name, middle name, last name.
Databases are extremely smart. There's fuzzy logic a lot of times in systems, especially the ones I work with, which will accommodate for that. So if it does come in as a last name, comma, first name, or first name, last name, the system will automatically put it into the right fields. There's some logic in it. So again, this is what we strive for, but you better have a way to track the needs of what's going on in your environment. Now, I'm not even going to read that first line because that is just so data geek. I mean, whatever. But the dirty data, and that doesn't mean inappropriate things in your data. It means your dirty data is inconsistent. I'm currently working on a project that the client, we bid, oh my gosh, it's a $3,200 job that I've got to go through 86,000 records, and I have to dedupe. And the inconsistencies were company name, no customer ID, contact name, phone number has got parentheses around the area code, and then the other record doesn't. It's all of these inconsistencies, and the sales team for the last 10 years have not paid attention. So do you really think that database is really 86,000 records? No. I'm gathering it's going to probably be right around maybe 49 or 50,000 when I'm finally done finishing this, and I'm wrapping this up tomorrow. But it amazes me how I have to keep going against the data, keep challenging the data, get these pieces to come back at me, look at it, merge them together, and then I have to go back again because now the record's changed, And so now if I look at it a different way, they might come up as again as another dupe. So I might have brought in 3, 4, or 5 records into one because of different ways I was looking at deduping or the inconsistencies of the entry of the data. Data that is out of sync, due to not being centralized. This is another situation I come across a lot, is sales reps each have their own environments. A couple use Outlook, a couple use like Act software, a couple people use Excel spreadsheets, and they're all within one company. Do you really think that the owner can run a sales pipeline report to figure out what possible sales are coming down the pipe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months into the future? How would that person begin to even know what's going on in the company? Because you're not using consistent ways to gather the data. I already talked about the data duplicates. Data not moving through company applications. This is another reason I like to look at integrating applications like Outlook, talking to your CRM, or I've been getting really into text messaging or SMS bulk messaging out of a system based on the tags, categories, so it's targeted marketing. If those are not talking together and they're siloed and the information is coming from different applications, but they're not all kind of passing or sharing, you won't understand high level what this overall customer or prospect is really interested in potentially. So I've already kind of talked about this. Think about when you're doing business, how you do business. Are you out of the office a lot? Are you in the office a lot? Is your team with you? Are you all in one location? Do you all work out of your house? Think about that, because you should really look about a centralized data environment to suit how you do business. Not you should change your business environment to suit the application that you're trying to adopt. You have to really be kind of, strong-willed about that to say, no, there must be a way for the application to fit how I do business. So this is a data model design, and I know this is you're going to look at this and go, wow, this is way too much for me, but that's fine. I'm trying to show you that you can build or expand or scale this as you grow. So let's say you've got a central CRM, and it could be just a high-performance desktop. It doesn't have to be a server. So you've got a scheduled database backup, and so you've got it pushing out to like Carbonite or something, so you're protecting your data. Then let's say you've got an office. You've got people that are in the office that come to a brick and mortar, and they are now online or real-time talking back to the centralized environment. So far, so good. That's great. That's a pretty simple brick and mortar environment. But then you start going, well, I've got a couple people that work out of their house. They don't want to come in, or Sally Joe is home with her kid and she can't get into work, but she still needs to make her phone calls. Well, then we start looking at potentially putting your database access through a web server. It's still talking to your local server. And then there's your website, that it's all encrypted, it's all high security. But then you're going, well, but I'm talking to this client and I want to be able to take some notes and maybe log a meeting from my phone and want it to be on my calendar when I get back to the office. So now you start looking at doing something like this, where if you have this application, it was a syncing application, that it basically flattens the field. It was an application I discovered. It flattens the field so that if you enter your information, because it's listening on to an Outlook Exchange account, so if you send an email from your tablet, your phone, Gmail, wherever you're forwarding or passing that email, it would then write back to that contact record on the server. So by the time you get back to the office, or actually within a minute on your phone, you would see that information that you just tied to your customer. Again, it all depends on how simple or complicated you need to be when you're out in the field. I didn't want to show you this, but I wanted to show you this because there's so many ways for things to be done to fit how you do business. Data tracking. We're going to start getting into this. This is where I like to play. I love reporting. I love data mashing. I love looking at data 6 different ways, and it's amazing the information you can gain by challenging your data. Even though you think you know it really well, sometimes just ask it a stupid question. And that's exactly how I think about it at times. I ask my database a stupid question. So like, for instance, this is all real good. I mentioned it earlier. Prospect, new client, recurring client. Your referral sphere partners. How many of you have right now referral partners or sphere of influence partners that work with you or help you gain business or pass the business between you and their company? What are you doing to encourage them and make sure that they're happy and they stay loyal to you? Because like it was said earlier, I mean, it's great that we're all unique with what we do, but how do you make them feel special? I just find referral partners, yeah, I'm liking this. Not always. All right, I got to tell you a really short story because I hadn't thought about this. One of the certifications I carry several within CRM applications, but one is in the ACT software. And it was late one night, I've got multiple virtual environments on my test server for my clients, and I didn't realize I had done this, but I was using one application for merging. It's a big tool that merges data. And I accidentally upgraded the ACT version on the test environment for another client, totally forgetting about the original client I built it for. The problem is the original client came back and said, okay, I need another conversion done. And I'm like, oh, and so it's late, I'm opening it up, going through the motions, I can't figure this out. And I called up Alan. Alan is in Schaumburg, Illinois. I've known him for a long time. He is just a sweet man. He sells a $1,500 conversion tool. That's what I was using. Called him up. I said, Alan, I don't quite get why this isn't working. He looked at it. He actually remoted into my virtual environment. He goes, so what version is ACT? So what version is my tool? And as soon as I said it out loud, the versions didn't match anymore. Now, there is no reason that he had to do this, but he said, you know what, let me just give you a new application or activation code and let's upgrade that conversion tool. Free of charge, $1,500 retail. I'm stunned. So what I did, I know it was a long, stupid story, but what I did, and I think this will blow him away, is I sent him an appreciation gift basket of cheeses and candy and chocolates and cookies and just saying thank you so much for the above and beyond support of my brain freeze moment, because otherwise that actually spared me about 6 hours of rebuilding the test environment because I did something stupid. So I guess what I'm saying is Alan and I pass information that leads back and forth to each other, but that gift basket was under $60, and you know what? It was minimal compared to what he did for me. And I know that that's going to be fostering a deeper relationship as far as referral partners and loyalty. So think about that. We all take advantage, it's a horrible Freudian slip. We don't appreciate the relationship we have with our referral partners, but they are unbelievably valuable and important, and they should be noted and I guess revered. So back to what I'm saying. That last sentence, what is the client doing or not doing with you? Again, this is where we're going to get into tracking. I love this picture because this is exactly what's happening as you start churning more marketing, more direct, inbound, outbound, social media, email marketing, website, whatever. The leads are going to start dropping and it's going to start feeling like it's going to be rain. Now you see they're literally fading down here. Why are they fading? You can't even get to them because you don't have a strong enough process or enough ways to track things or automate to bring that information into a system so that you can get to them, because you want to try and reach everybody possible that's contacting you. All right, everybody stand up. You're all going, really? There's a little card I left on everybody's chairs. If you can find it, it's my business card, but it's got location, customer type, etc. So now, if you don't have a CRM, think about the way you're currently tracking your information on your customers. Can you do this literally as fast as I'm reading what I'm asking for? So for instance, what I want is prospects that are in Minnesota that are lead sources are networking and that the email is send offers. Everybody that doesn't meet that criteria, sit down. I'll do it again. So what I'm asking for is, I said location is Minnesota, customer type is prospect, the email is send offers, and lead source is networking. So what I'm getting at is I asked a question really quickly and I just looked around and now this would be my targeted group for what I want to do for marketing. Because that's what querying does in your database. You can go ahead and sit down if you want. I just wanted to kind of show you physically that if you can't ask a quick question within 5 seconds, what you need for the targeting of your environment, because I know a lot of people say Outlook is fine for this, and it is, but you don't have a lot of these things like your lead sources, your website, email send offers versus do not mail or do not email. I was going to go further into some more examples, but everybody's got a little bit different of a card in this room. And imagine, there's only what, roughly 35 people in the room right now. Imagine if you had a database of 5,000. Wouldn't you want to be able to start asking questions to say, I need to send some marketing out specifically to these people with these needs that want to hear from me? I mean, you got to think about it that way. Any questions about that so far? Do you understand what I'm getting at? Like I said, Excel's great, Post-it notes are great, Outlook is great, but if you really want to go to that next step and really, thank you, sir. Yeah, he's like, move it. But this is a good thing to think about. How can you quickly ask those questions? That's what I want to get here. Groups are based on buying behavior, current status, where did the lead come from? Again, if you want to figure out marketing budget, where do you think when you have to go and someone says, especially for marketing dollars, and you're going there to say, hey, let me help you with your marketing, where do you think this is coming from? Larger companies will have known that, you know, like Larry's stats were amazing. They still kind of blow me away. But the one thing that I remember was Von Hansen, on average, spends roughly $83 per customer, spends $83. How do you think they're figuring that out? And I'm curious because they probably got a turn rate to know how many coupons or the campaigns that are coming in. They're doing all of this analysis. Now granted, they don't have my name specifically in their system and they're not realizing how much I specifically buy. It's not that type of business. But the analysis is just beyond critical for you to be on top of it. And that's what data and design and analysis really can help you with. Where did the lead come from? That's another thing is you can't just have one option as far as how you want to market. Meaning networking, public speaking, emailing, SMS texting, sure. I mean, there's so many things you can do. Don't just get married to one thing. Start trying and then analyzing the data. Start figuring out how many people came in through, how many clients have you achieved through networking versus your email marketing versus your direct mail. There's things you have to pay attention to. So again, how are you going to reach them? You have all these options. Like I said, I should have put texting on there too because that's become a really big market. So last but not least, if you have a central CRM system, email messages would write to it. You would have accounting, how much your clients are spending with you, automatically feeding into their records. You would have your inventory, how much are they buying from you? Depends what type of business you have as you're going to be marketing or tracking that. Project management. I've got custom tables that are keeping track of our phases of all of the projects between me and my team with all of the customers we have. Direct mail is also in there. Mobile marketing, like I said, texting. You've got your website. And last but not least, email marketing. So don't think of it as just one thing that you're going to be doing. Thanks, everybody. If you have questions, I'll be around to chat with you later.